lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sim Racing Media Network. We are live here. It is a beautiful night in Iowa for the Racers Elite Xfinity Series, their penultimate race here in their chase playoffs. We are, we'll just say that their chase so far for the season. We've got mentioned penultimate, so only two more races left. This one, and then after they complete 160 laps, we will head a little bit southwest over to Atlanta. We'll say super speedway because it's about what it is. But enough of that. That's for next week. Let's go ahead and bring up for tonight's race. 75 degrees for the ambient temp, 31% humidity. Partly cloudy, 1 miles per hour wind, so the weather not going to be a large factor. Track temp's only going to be 77 degrees. It's going to be a cool night. You would expect a lot of grip, but there's just not a lot of grip at Iowa. I know it's just also one of my worst tracks, so I'll try not to dog on it too much, just from personally being bad. But nonetheless, it is a very, very slick track and does require a lot of throttle control, so especially for these Xfinity cars. We're getting ready. Qualifying is just about over. Just got a couple of minutes left before we finish up. Here you see that there. This is in Newton, Iowa, in case anybody wasn't sure. I know we got a couple people here from the Sim Racing Media Network close to that area. Regarding the playoffs, they're after now 14 of 16 races on the season. Kensley Smith held on to that points lead last week. He's now got a 8-point lead over Ira Kohlhaas, his teammate. Ira did not lose any positions, but lost a couple of points on that last week. Lee Campbell comes in third. He actually was tied with these guys, and or tied for second, I'm sorry, with Ira. And so he lost a couple of points to him. He's 4 behind Ira, putting him a total of 12 behind Kensley. I don't think Lee's actually going to be able to make it. I'll double check the chat because it looks like he says he's going to unfortunately end up having to miss this one. So definitely a bummer when you're in the playoffs and you have to miss a race, especially so close to the end of the season. Brandon Sanfilippo, he's right there. He is 13 points behind the leader. Yes, 13 points behind the leader. So he's still got a chance. He's got to have some good luck happen here over the next 2 races. Andrew Teff there, he's also 13 points back. So he's tied for 4th with Brandon Sanfilippo. And then Dennis Kane, he is in the 6th position. He's about 20 points back. So from there on back, Brandon Honeycutt, 22 there in 7th. Would need some good luck here over the next 2 races because Kensley and Ira, those two have definitely been some of the best of the best when it comes to just races overall. And so we have just about 1 minute left here in qualifying. Joshua Neal, thank you for joining us in the YouTube chat. He's rooting on just Puff, of course, for Brandon Puffenbarger in that number 5. I jumped on as a ghost car and tried following him a little bit around the track, and it was slick for him. So it was definitely slick. But watching the car control like he had, definitely could tell why he's going to be one of those faster cars on track tonight. I think he was 2nd fastest in practice, if I'm not mistaken. I also look for Puffenbarger to be forced to be reckoned with, of course. Having won last week's race, I apologize. And I gave him 2 wins. Yeah, 2 wins on the season, and in his 5 starts, he's got 5 top 5s to show for it. So he's definitely a driver that can win races. So look for him to be on top. And a track like Iowa, again, really interesting to put a track like this right as the penultimate race in your just overall in your season, considering all that's at stake. Iowa's going to be a tough track for these drivers, but that's why you got to put it here and make it work. Make these drivers really work for a championship if they want it. Looks like qualifying is all set, so let's go ahead and move over to the grid. And Brandon Puffenbarger going to be your pole sitter. Not too surprising right there with a 23:32.6 to grab that. Kensley Smith, your points leader, with a only 46 hundredths behind him. So that's definitely, less than a tenth between the top 3 cars, with Todd Slauson there in the number 22 in 3rd. Sean Dunaway going to start on the outside of row number 2. Brandon Honeycutt and Truth Hoke, row 3. Andrew Teft and Brandon Sanfilippo, row number 4. Row 5 belongs to Kirby Wainscott and Dennis Kane. Alex Teft, Jacob Plank going to be in row 6, and then Matt Metler, one of our drivers here from the Sim Racing Media Network, likes to hop in and out of some of these leagues that we broadcast. So nice to see him here. Let's see if he's got anything for these drivers. A lot of Fords in the field now with him jumping in. No Toyotas, actually. So just a Chevy and Ford field for the moment. Let's go ahead and bring in our pole sitter. Hold on. Let's see if we can find him. I don't see our pole sitter. Let me double check. Make sure it's not just me. No, okay. I do not see our pole sitter here in the Discord for the moment. So we'll give him a shout out nonetheless from Morgantown, West Virginia. He typically jumps in right after the race. I think he's in his own team Discord, as many of these drivers do. Got to have a nice team to work with. This being a short track, I believe it should be. No, lights are off. Well, lights are off. We're good to go. All right, strap those belts tight. We got only 2 more races left here in the season. Maybe not. Maybe nope. No, okay, no, lights are off, but it looks like we're gonna have 1 more lap before. We'll still strap them tight. Get ready for 1 more lap around here, as we get ready to go green. Put down 160 laps in the process. Looks like Matt Metler does not come out on track, so right now it looks like we will have 12 drivers out on track here for this race. We'll get that tower up and moving here for you. There you go. All right, there we go. We're going to go through 3 and 4 now. We should see that iRacing.com pace car take that sharp left onto pit lane. And here it is. We're going to go up high. They're going to get to the Geico restart zone. Barney the flagman gets it down. We are green flag racing here from Iowa. See them fan out. Oh, we got one in the wall, the 35 of Jacob Plankard in turn 1, and that will bring out our first caution of the day. I can back up, and he's going to have to take a tow in the process. So let's see what happens here. Cold tires at a track like this, so easy to get loose. Oh, I'm sorry. No, he had a little help from the 43. Let me go back. I was trying to justify it, not against Jacob for any means, mostly just because I personally have done it. Let's see here. The 43, what all happens? He had the wheel turning to the left. He just didn't turn it more. As well. Yeah, I just don't think he expected that to happen. That's the last thing you want to happen as well. You know, that's just kind of wrong place at wrong time. So, Alex Tefton, number 43, gonna get into the 35 of Jacob Plank, causing him to have to take a tow. And then Dennis Kane, he's gonna come down pit lane here. Hopefully, make sure he's got that fast repair checked off and his tires checked off as well. They get 5 total tire sets tonight. 4 including the one that they're starting off with here. And so with 160 laps, we're looking at about 32 laps set more or less. And fuel-wise, 65%. I think they're about 70 to 75 laps. So that's putting us at 47 laps, I think, something around that area. And so that's gonna force it to be a three-stop race, right? 40. So we'll assume 45 to 90. Yeah, 3-stop race. Definitely don't think you can. Definitely cannot do it in less than that. So. And Dennis can't come off pit lane. It looks like Alex Teft has either been given or requested an EOL, as in move him to the back of the field. Only losing 1 or 2 spots there, not too much, actually, right where he started there in the 11th position. Only the change in position there was Brandon Sanfilippo getting around Andrew Teft for that 7th position. So we'll see if Andrew's able to get back around him. You see the very top, or I'm sorry, the left of your board, our tower where Puffenbarger, Teft, Plank, and Metler, the 4 of them, sorry, they do not have a blue marking across their names. Those are your non-playoff drivers. So the 8, right? 9, sorry, I can't do math right now at the end of the day. The 9 drivers here are the 9 competing for a championship, or at least trying to get as many points as they can in that process. So Kensley Smith going to be starting on the inside of the leaders, so we'll have to see if the 0-1 of Sean Dunaway can't get a nice restart as well, maybe get to the outside of the 15 and see what works. And again, I'm not. This is a really bad track for me, and I don't really have a ton of practice on it, and much less in the Xfinity cars, unfortunately. So I hate to not be able to give you the best recommendations. But again, that's also why I'm up here in the broadcast booth and out there racing. But you just kind of want to look at where the rubber's laid down, where it's a little bit darker on the track. That's going to be your typical racing line, and so it looks like just a couple feet off the bottom. Doesn't look like you want to be on the bottom, but just a little bit off of it, and you can get a little bit higher. But here it is, getting ready to go back. Green flag racing to the Geico restart zone. The outside, no problem for that number 5, as he'll get a great launch, clear for first, and I think Kenzie was able to clear for second pretty quickly. So the battle will be for third behind, and that'll be a cleared as well. And look at them come flying off of turn 2 right up against the wall. Kenzie Smith right to the bottom. We're going to have a battle for the lead. He's actually going to lead this lap. Yeah, Kenzie Smith is going to lead this lap. He's going to take the lead from Puffenbarger. And here comes Todd Slauson right behind. And that number 22, that Nationwide Chevrolet, very reminiscent, of course, of Dale Jr.'s Nationwide. Looks like now the 22 is looking to the inside, possibly of Kensley Smith. Kensley that last time had the fastest lap of the session. The 5 and a little bit into the wall there off of turn number 4. And that's going to cost him third to Sean Dunaway. And Truth Hoke looks like he's trying to be a little bit aggressive, trying to get to that number 5. Again, passing going to be so difficult here. So you want to do everything you can to get those positions when you can. And those restarts are where it is the best shot. And right now, Kensley Smith up to the point, not where anybody else in the championship really wanted to see it. I just noticed, oh my goodness, Ira not here tonight. So Ira, definitely missing you here, buddy. So Kensley Smith's opportunities for the championship just a little easier with the second place driver not in here. But so much can happen here tonight. Only one faster pair for these drivers, and you saw what happened to Plank just so early on, and you really never know what can happen here over the next 151 laps. Brandon Sanfilippo put down a blazing fast lap, that previous one, the fastest of the evening. He gets to the inside now of his championship competitor in Truth Hoke, that number 59, to the inside. This is where you see he's not quite wrapping the bottom, but he does a really good job of wrapping the line that he's trying to. But that outside just carries such good momentum and allows that 59 to stay in front. And that's where passing becomes so difficult, where you're really going to have to do a good job of saving your tires. And it really looks like saving that right rear is going to be important because, man, it can just get so loose off of these corners so quickly. And it's something, just so reminiscent of these Xfinity cars already. So we look kind of briefly through the field right now. Mentioned between Chevrolets and Fords. 7 Chevys in the field and really only 5 Fords. So you can't include Matt Medler not being in the having started the race. And yeah, all 7 Chevys are 1 through 7, and then the Fords 8 through 12 there. So some work for them. Andrew Teff going to carry the banner right now, but Dennis Kane right on his bumper as well, only just a couple tenths behind. And so the battle is for second. Brandon Puffenbarger maybe trying to save his tires. Now going to be over the next couple. I say if you're a tire saver, being these runs are going to be about maybe 30. I'm just going to say definitely 40 to 45 laps. That around the 25 to 30 lap mark is where you're really going to start to see those drivers who did a good job of saving those tires and those who didn't. And Kensley Smith, the good thing about him right now is that he's got a 1 second lead over our very hard battle for second between what's currently 2 drivers. Puffenbarger just, says it's lap 15, not lap 150, where I decided to make it 3 wide for second. But that's just allowing Smith to just ease with his tires. And that great run for the 22 on the outside allows him to clear the 0-1. But Sean Dunaway right back to the inside here, right in the rubber where I think you typically want to be to try to save tires. But again, you know, being side by side racing where you don't really get to race in that full line that you want to run, you kind of have to pull on that steering wheel a little harder, a little longer. It's still going to do damage to your tires over the long run. And there it is. The 5 is now going to get to the outside of that 0-1 of Sean Dunaway. Truth Hoke now poking into the picture. So the 0-1. Oh, he can clear him. He can clear himself. He's not going to, though. He's just going to go ahead and pull back off. He said, no. Okay, man, I don't know. Maybe the 5 spoke up. I don't have the voice chats turned on. But, man, that would have been something to hear on the radio. And here you see the 0-1 gets plenty of room to Puffenbarger this time around. He said, okay, I'm not going to try to get that close again. That was too close to call. Too early in this race as well for him. Meanwhile, it is the 0.6 of a second lead actually for Kensley over Slauson, because Slauson was able to get away from that group. And Sean Dunaway not actually done fighting this number 5 car. He is back to the bottom. Maybe giving an opportunity for those tires to cool down. But nope, it's the 5 clears him back down the front stretch. And the 59 now gets to his outside. Oh, they almost make contact there. The 0-1 and the 59. They are right on top of each other trying to make a pass. Is the 59. He's going to clear the 0-1 of Sean Dunaway. And now here comes the 12 of Brandon Sanfilippo to the inside. I love getting these views where the drivers they're on the cockpit, my man. We get to see everything else. You even see there that the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt was able to get to the outside of that 12 of Sanfilippo when he was trying to make the pass on the 0-1. So that's another thing. If you're going to make a pass, you got to make sure you can actually make that pass. And now Brandon Honeycutt's going to try to throw his name into the hat to try to make a pass on the 0-1. You see, he's coming in high and then just cutting across low, getting a great run. Except this time, he's going to go low on the 0-1, see if he can't make the pass, wrap that bottom really well. Gets a good run off, you know. The 0-1's going to keep carrying that momentum, but good run. And as I was speaking, you know, kind of blabbing away about that, the 5 of Puffenbarger was able to get around the 22 of Slauson. Slauson's kind of just hit a little bit of a rock right now. Or a little bit of a wall, I'm sorry. Now 1.2 seconds behind Kensley Smith, so having lost 6/10 since the last time we spoke about it. And Puffenbarger now 7.5 tenths around there off of Kensley. This last time around, wow, he was previous time almost a tenth. This time, not even half a tenth quicker. So Kensley gonna have to start picking it up here as Puffenbarger gets closer. And then sometime over the next 20 or 15 to 20 laps is where we're going to start seeing some drivers make their way down pit lane. Here comes Brandon Sanfilippo. He made that pass on Honeycutt and now looking back on that 0-1, but didn't have the opportunity there. Got right back to the outside and said, you know what, let me not go ahead and lose another spot again and have to use my tires to try to pass pass on an additional time. Man, let's go ahead and actually get on board that 22 because he's right up against the wall there in 3 and 4. Love to just listen to that throttle. It is just amazing in these Xfinity cars. Yeah, so it looks like he's struggling to get back on the throttle as quickly as these other guys are. This isn't a Puffenbarger here. He got in the throttle a lot earlier than Slauson was, and I'm going to have to assume even faster than Kensley there. Listen to this in 3 and 4. And see, he sounds like he's a lot more comfortable with his car. Slauson is definitely trying to maybe just nurse it right now. I don't know if he used too much of his tires, or maybe that's just the way the car is driving for him, and he's just trying to figure out as well. That's another big struggle as the run goes on, trying to figure out how to adjust your racing line and just your overall racing craft to match that with the changes of the tire, just wearing out, rubber getting laid down, and just the dirty air you continue to encounter in the track itself. Right now, looks like Kensley was 1.5 tenths quicker that last time around. So trying to pull back away from your pole sitter at the moment. As Slauson's now under attack from Truth Hoke, but he carries that outside so well, it's going to be so difficult to make that pass on the inside. And the 59, the 12, the 13, they're all right there waiting to pounce. But really, it's going to take the driver who can either get to the inside or maybe somehow try to give a little bit of a boot to that number 22. But again, also going to be a little difficult with just how these tires are and just where he runs up, closer to the wall. He's giving a little bit of space off the wall, but here goes the 59, going to try something else. 22, a little bit of an air block there, but the 59 also going to slide up a little bit. Maybe driving a little too hard. 12 going to try to get a good run. A little bit loose there off of 2. Going to look now to the inside. The 22 blinks in and out for a moment. We were 3 wide. We are 3 wide here through 3 and 4. 31 laps into this race, into the run. The 59 and the 12 both back out. The 22's got the run. 59 back under attack, or back on the attack now on that 22 in the inside as they come off of 1 and 2. And here comes the 59's loose. The 12 is a great run off of 2. Back to the inside for the 59, man. This is a great battle we're experiencing here. I think the 22 might have got the wall a little bit. Not going to be enough, though. They're going to stay side by side. Almost 3 wide again as they're looking into 1. Oh, the 59 looks like he's thinking about putting the boot to the 22 a little bit. He almost did. I want to jump on board to that with that 59. Actually, this is a 13. 13's got a great view of this as well. Thirteen's going to look to the outside. He's going to send it hard into that. Those are hard bumps there in 1 and 2 that you have to really be good trying to get over. It will just really, really upset the balance of the race car. And that's probably my biggest struggle, is finding the way to get through 1 and 2 without those bumps. And that's what makes Iowa so difficult, just trying to pass on top of the fact that your tires are old and you're trying to make your way through this very rough racetrack. It's the wrong end of the racetrack there, but we're back on it. Nice hard battle here. Once again, Todd Slauson, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers there on his bumper just about. Now as we've now completed 35 laps, lap 36 now. 59 a little bit loose. 12 going to have to give him some room. And that 22 just does a great job. And that shows how important track position is. And he qualified 3rd, got up to 2nd, and he's been able to do a great job of holding these guys off because, man, they're fighting each other while also just trying to get to his inside. And meanwhile, he just keeps running overall just the same line that he's just been running this entire time. And that's probably another advantage. He is comfortable. He's a little bit loose there, He's going to be, but that 22 is comfortable with his line that these other drivers are just trying to... He's forcing these other guys into other lanes that they don't want to be in. And, man, these battles are great behind. And we talk about that. Puffenbarger just a little bit, about half a tenth quicker there. It's been fluctuating everywhere between half a second and 7 tenths here. So those drivers, while they continue to try to figure out who's going to be leading this race after the quarter way mark here, as we're about to reach it in a couple of laps, this battle for really second on back continues to just rage on. And the 22, look at that, has actually given himself a little bit of room, about half a second over Truth Hoke, and I'm sure these drivers, their tires have really felt that difference today. Or, I'm sorry, at least in this first run. And just because we get past this lap 40 mark doesn't mean necessarily they're going to come down pit lane. We did have that lap 1 or 2 caution. And only Dennis Kane came in to top off. So he'd be the only one with a slight advantage in that. The run, you slow up so much, I guess, to go into an example here. We are over a second slower than what our fastest laps are right now, as the 59 going to get into the wall off of Ford. That's what you need, a mistake from another driver to get that opportunity. Brandon Honeycutt gets to the inside. He clears him. The 12 wanted to send it in there and clear it, but the 13 had to check up ever so slightly. The 12 wasn't able to clear, and now here comes the 12 running hard. The 59 get a little bit of contact between the two of them. That's just a little bit of short track racing there in the 3. That's some good stuff right there between the two of them. Great car control. They were going to keep it straight. Live to fight another day, another lap here. Just amazing. 41 laps into a race, and these drivers are just so, racing each other so hard, and yet they're just right on top of each other. As, the 22 now 7/10 away from these two. These 3, 4. You can now even include that 5th car back there. Sorry, that's Sean Dunaway. The 5th car is Jacob Plank, that lap car who got involved in that first lap incident. And as I've blabbed away about the rest of this, Puffenbarger has just continued to knock him away. He was almost 2/10 quicker that previous lap. This time around, he was half a tenth quicker. A little bit of contact, though, down the front stretch. It cost him a little bit of time. Give Kensley a little bit of breathing room. The battle back again here is 35 in between of this 59 and the 0-1. The 0-1 trying to send it to the inside of that 59. Are they going to make contact? The front two are going to stay a little bit apart so we can stay with these two for the moment. Man, what great action are we getting? 12 cars, it doesn't matter. It is some great action here in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. As the 0-1, the 59, hard racing. The 59 is loose. The 0-1's going to come up a little bit. He's also going to be loose, but great job staying apart from each other to keep this close. As the leaders are getting close as well. They almost make contact there off of 4. Puffenbarger did not get through 1 and 2 very well. Sorry, Kensley didn't. Here comes Puffenbarger to the outside. Can he make the pass? The 15's going to give him room on the outside. Doesn't have much of a choice. Can he cut up in front of him? It's not going to be enough. He's going to let him go. Puffenbarger fell to 3rd. I think even almost 4th at one point there. And 40 laps later, he's going to make his way back into the lead after starting on pole. Now your top 3 have re-racked themselves exactly where they started. 1, 2, 3 in that order. As we are coming close to what should be our first set of green flag pit stops here over the next, I'd argue, 5 to, I don't know if we can go over even 10 laps. So maybe over the next 5 laps. But I have to give credit. Todd Slausen's done a great job, and he's shown everybody what holding your line and holding that outside in 3 and 4 can do for you. He just did a great job. Did not, go away from it. Just stuck with it. Got into a great rhythm, and I think it's just what Iowa, as well entails. It's a good rhythm track, especially if you can get into these nice long runs. And he didn't do the best of job saving his tire in the long run at one point, but they just couldn't pass him, and he just did a great job from there. Meanwhile, it's a hard battle. Whoa, I think we had the 0-1 of Sean Dunaway. In for just a moment there. No, I don't think that was it. I don't know what happened. Something with Sean Dunaway, and I believe that 35 car of Jacob Plank. Not sure. They just had a little bit of contact that would have allowed that. Lap 50 here. Lap 51. As we have now completed 50 laps. We'll take our first commercial break here after our first set of green flag pit stops. We'll want to be with you, or want you guys to be with us. Sorry. When they begin their trips down pit lane. As a reminder, for those of you watching, make sure to let us know who you are rooting on. Make sure that we'll have an opportunity to speak with them. 15, just trying to find a way to catch that 30. Sorry, that 5 car. Let's jump back on board now. Let's see what your leader is feeling in his steering wheel. And listen to the throttle as well. That's also important when at a track like this. Like the moment it sounds like it's about to wind down, it gets right back into the throttle. Let's hear it from Kinsley. And he's not even full throttle until he's well off the corner. He's not putting a ton of steering into it. That just goes to show these things are probably feeling very loose off these corners. And it's not turning very well either. Look at all the turn he's got to put in just to get it for that initial rotation, and then immediately backs right off. So very, very tight entry, very loose off if you're not careful with the throttle. It seems to be that's what these drivers are experiencing right now. The flames coming out of the pipes there as the driver's getting off the throttle. Still 110 miles per hour, still pretty darn fast. Or sorry, 150 miles per hour going through there. And Puffenbarger, how about this? He's opened up a 2.5 second lead. He is in a league of his own, is what I was ready to say. Oh my goodness, excuse me. He is just on a roll right now. And Kensley Smith, he's going to be the first to hit pit lane. I'm sorry, Brandon Honeycutt was the first to hit pit lane actually on the previous lap. Kensley Smith, Todd Slauson. Here comes Dennis Kane. So these are all happening on lap 58, lap 57 for Brandon Honeycutt. We're just over a second and a half slower for some of these drivers. We'll have to see when does Puffenbarger come in. He's not going to come in just yet. Going to extend it here an additional lap. If you were to divide this race up into about 3, it's about 53, 54 laps. So I think Puffenbarger's coming in now. You hear it slowing up a ton. Here it is coming down 2 laps later. Andrew Teft about 4 seconds behind. We'll have to see. Let's see. He's actually going to stay out. Going to get himself a lap lead. That'll help at least a little bit there in the points. Give him a little bit of a break that tiebreaker with Brandon Sanfilippo going into this race, and maybe just hoping for the best. Sean Dunaway was one of those drivers who had not pit. He's coming down. Truth Hoke going to make his way down pit lane as well for their first stops of the evening. So that will leave the Teft brothers, Andrew and Alex, out here in their Ford Mustangs, that number 98 and the 43. Of course, the 98. Andrew Teft, you know, the Chief Cook bottle washer. Is that how I say it, Alan? If you're watching, I can't say. He says it the right way. The man in charge here for the Racers Elite and series. You see him everywhere on Facebook, the forums, just trying to get the word out there, recruiting drivers to come join. And as you can see, it's a great league, great racing that we get here. A beautiful paint scheme is getting ready to come down pit lane. Of course, representing Racers Elite, the series itself. A little loose coming down. Going to get it sold up. Just looking pretty good. And then his brother Alex still out there. Now as they cross the line onto lap number 63. And I think it looks like Alex is 23 and a half or 23 seconds ahead of Kensley Smith. So that battle for second will be soon, because you see Kensley having pit 2 laps earlier, comes out about half second just over that, 6/10 out in front of Kensley, in front of Brandon Puffenbarger. And Alex Teft coming down pit lane now, so the leaders will come around and cycle back for Kensley. Big moment, or big, break for him. Good job coming down pit lane. Him and Puffenbarger had a very similar lap time, or pit lane times and pit stop times. Puffenbarger just a little bit quicker, but Kensley did a great job coming off pit lane and using those fresh tires to his advantage to gain, we'd say probably just over 3 seconds, considering how far back he was and how far ahead he was after the fact. But Puffenbarger going to show that, man, I did a really good job of saving my tires that last time. I could probably push a little harder if I want to, knowing how close I am to Smith, and maybe even force him to push his stuff, because you also can't let Smith just get comfortable and just stay out there and lead laps. You got to do something to make him a little bit uncomfortable. So he just completed lap 64 on lap number 65, completing now lap number 65 onto lap 66. Kensley into the wall there as your leader, off of 4. Around lap 80, we'll go through the field of those drivers here still in the race tonight. Everybody but Matt Metler, who did not start. But until then, we're going to go have our first commercial break of the evening. Pay the bills here on the Sim Racing Media Network. If you or a business aware of anybody that would be interested in jumping on as a sponsor for Racers Elite or even Sim Racing Media Network, in which we can put you on the broadcast, specifically here for Racers Elite. They've got 3 and occasionally 4 races that are broadcasted on a weekly basis with us, whether that's on Sundays occasionally with their Gen 6. Tuesday they have the trucks. Wednesday is tonight, of course, the Xfinity, and then tomorrow the prizes of the next gen. Sounds like somebody got into the wall, I think. Oh, I say that, but we got a battle for the lead. But Alex Teft, it looks like, is who it was. We'll go back to the lead, because now as we complete lap number 68, we'll take a commercial break after these two go at it. And then look at Todd Slauson back there, pit with Kensley Smith, and he did a great job on and off pit lane. Gain time on Kensley only was half a tenth slower than Puffenbarger for his pit lap, but the pit time itself, Todd Slauson also had the fastest one there, almost 4 tenths quicker than Kensley. So shout out to him. Great job he has done keeping himself in tow with these first two, who seem to be the cream of the crop for tonight. And Todd said, no, I am part of this. I figured something out in that first run, and I'm going to go ahead and make it work this second time around. But, man, we got a great three-way battle for the lead. About 5 seconds back to Brandon Sanfilippo there in the 4th position. He put a lap after Todd and Kensley, and then that would be, of course, a lap before Brandon. So we'll see how that works out for him. But Puffenbarger now looking to the inside of Kensley. We got a good battle for the lead here off of 2. He's able to clear him right off of 4. A little bit of a slide job, but here comes the 15. Kensley Smith, he's going to come for the crossover. Not going to be enough through 1 and 2. That 5 carries that great momentum off of 2, and he's going to retake the lead. And Todd Slauson right behind this, watching these guys and say, hey, yeah, you just keep battling like that and waste your tires. And I'm going to try to save my tires a little bit better now that I'm right behind you. Man, what a great pass there for the lead, and what a great job there at Kensley trying to use that crossover. Just about worked, just not enough momentum there in the 1, I think. All right, I'll stop blabbing. We'll be right back, everybody. Give us just a moment. so we can have our first commercial break of the evening, and then we'll have a little bit of a walkthrough of the field. So if you're watching, make sure you stay tuned in so that we can make sure we get to your favorite driver tonight. So we'll be right back, everybody. Hang on tight. And we are back live here from the Sim Racing Media Network with the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. Elite these drivers are because we have another non-playoff driver looking to stink up the show. Puffenbarger, playoff quality driver without a doubt, just has not been able to be here for the entire season. But in 5 starts, he's got 5 top 5s, 2 wins, looking to make that his 3rd win now in 6 starts. But he still got Kesley Smith, your points leader, coming into tonight, right behind him. And, you know, Kesley's kind of in that situation where you kind of just have to write it out. The leader is not your battle, essentially. You know, yes, for the race win it is, but for the points it's not. You know, Ira not here, unfortunately, tonight. Wasn't able to make it. I didn't get an opportunity to try to see if he may have posted why or not he was going to be here. He may have even mentioned it to me, and I think he had previously mentioned that he wasn't going to be able to be here for tonight's race at Iowa. I just had forgotten, but nonetheless, you know, so you have him not being able to be here, and then Brandon Sanfilippo's there. You know, he's in 4th, but you know, you had a nice points lead going into this, so you definitely don't want to push it where you wreck and you cause yourself even more, you know, you cost yourself even more points from there. And there we are here through lap 80. We're now coming to complete lap number 81, but as promised, we'll get through the field here. Brandon Puffenbarger, your pole sitter for Morgantown, West Virginia, has not necessarily dominated this race. I think it's been a nice even split so far between him and Kensley Smith, but as this race continues on, it may look more towards the dominant side for Brandon. Kensley Smith from Tarboro, North Carolina, your points leader coming into tonight's race. Just an overall very skilled driver. Clearly, he's doing such a great job throughout all of the tracks the Xfinity Series has to offer. Man, look at that hard bump into one that you saw him hit. Then you have to look at his success so far as well. In the Truck Series, you see him battling for a championship there. Todd Slauson in that number 22 nationwide Camaro. They're in the 3rd position, just 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds behind your leader. Only about 1.3 behind Kensley Smith. He's exactly where he started as well in that 3rd position. Brandon Sanfilippo in the 4th spot. Let me just double check what his points situation was going into tonight. So he was 13 points out, 1 point behind Lee Campbell, and 5 behind Ira Kohal. So he would easily take into 2nd place. He's just trying to find a way to gain some more points. Todd Slauson's back there 9th. He had missed a race, so he's not going to be, unfortunately, a threat to them in that scenario for the championship. Andrew Teff back here in the 5th position. I say this worked out for him. He was kind of running back there, mired back in 9th or 10th, but he's had a good pit stop. pit late, and I think this is really working out. He's gained a ton of time now, up to the 5th position for Andrew, up 2 spots from his starting spot. Dennis Kane from, I think it's Chicken Coop Racing. Yep, that's the top of his Ford Mustang hood from Detroit, Michigan. Kane also in the championship battle, in the playoffs at least, coming into it. He was 20 points out of it, so he doesn't really need a lot of luck to go his way. And Kensley running in second is not going to help that situation going into next week's race at Atlanta. 7th place is going to be Truth Hoke in that number 59 Wrangler Chevrolet from Hickory, North Carolina. Truth was... Timothy Hoke would be the other name that we have coming across for our standings. So I apologize, I didn't find him for a moment. But he was 31 going out. So again, yeah, he's just trying to maybe get as many points as he possibly can and finish ahead. I think he maybe missed the first race of the playoffs. And then Kirby Wainscott, the final driver in the on the lead lap, I do apologize, in that number 10 from Sparta, Kentucky. Another one of your playoff drivers, but also has not been able to attend all the races. And, of course, that is where we've seen his why he's back here in the points. Then Brandon Honeycutt, he is currently in the 9th position from Elizabethton, Tennessee. I believe he may have had a penalty coming down pit lane because he had a 55-second stop. So I think he may have been speeding, maybe an unsafe pit entrance, depending on the when he came down pit lane. And again, I only say that from past experience on my side. So Brandon currently down 4 spots from his starting position when he started up there in the 5th spot. And Honeycutt was 7th in the standings coming into tonight's race, 22 points back. So this is not what he needed in this regard. Would definitely need a caution to get that lucky dog and hope for the best over the next just under 70 laps that we have left. Sean Dunaway here in the 0-1 in the 10th position. He's going to make a second stop on lap 62, so I'm not sure what may have happened for him there. Not sure if he had some type of damage or whatever the case may be coming off of pit lane, so that's going to really set him back. You saw him have some great battles up there in the field. Jacob Plank in the number 35 Ford Mustang, your second driver not in the playoffs here tonight. He did, or unfortunately involved in that first incident where I believe, oh my goodness, I've already forgotten who he got involved with. Oh, the 43 is what it was, Alex Teft, on that first lap that cost him the damage. Someone got into the wall a little bit. And so he is 3 laps down. Alex Teft, he's the first driver officially out of the race, as Matt Metler did not complete a lap. He did not start the race itself. So we'll jump back now to your leaders, where they're at now. Brandon Puffenbarger up to a 1.3 second lead now, as we are on lap 95 with 94 complete. Now only 66 laps to go left in this race. I said 70 something, but yeah, no, only 66 laps left to go. And with these drivers have been able to pull off about 40, I say over 50 something, maybe even 55, close to 55 laps on a fuel run. I would expect to see the next ones coming in around lap 1. Somewhere between 110 and 120, so we've got about 10 laps until we get to that point. Is anybody else here in our YouTube chat? Again, if you're rooting on anybody in specific, we'll be sure to get an opportunity to talk about them. If you've got anything interesting as well, we'd love to go with that. Andrew Teff has actually moved into the 4th position here. Let's see. Yeah, he's now past Brandon Sanfilippo. So to put into perspective, he's on par with what the leaders are running. And we'll see this last time. Oh, that last time around, he was at 0.2 quicker than Todd Slauson, who's about a 1.2 seconds in front of him. And then he is just around a 10th quicker than your 2 leaders. So This seems like a pretty good strategy. Run it as long as you can. You really want those fresh tires, I guess, at the end of the run. Now, of course, you have to do a good job. It's not, just run it as long as you possibly can. You also have to take care of your tires throughout the entire run so that your average, your overall across the entirety is decent. You didn't abuse your tires so that you're not struggling, immensely at the end of the run. So we'll have to see for Alex what this looks like. Or sorry, Andrew. See if we can pull up our... There you go. So for our top 10 there, pit stop length and our strategies, as one might say, for them. So, and also to the right, you'll see what their positions are gained since their qualifying, as we now have 60 laps to go left in this race. Only one more. Oh, actually, these drivers are 110, because this should be around there. Anywhere really in the next 5 to 10 laps. So we have our pit window going to open up, but I think to make it to the end, but I think we'll probably see them extend it a little bit further. Kind of look down at Alex Teft. He went, oh my goodness, Andrew, I am so sorry, Andrew. That Andrew went to lap 62, so anywhere from 5 to 3 laps later than these drivers are around him, and that's how he's gaining as much time as he is. That last time around, again, another 10th quicker than your leader, 10th and a half than the driver in front of him. Kensley had a bad lap that last time around because he was 1.8 now behind. He lost a ton of time and kind of just gained a little bit of that back right there. So Andrew, again, 5 seconds behind the leader right now. He was a 10th quicker than Brandon, so we'll have to see. He's probably stabilized a little bit more now over, as this run has completed, and really it's just as his tires has probably worn out. But yeah, this has been a great strategy for Andrew, on purpose or not. We'll show a lap time here as well for your top 2 drivers, and Puffenbarger and Kenny Smith. And you see at the very bottom, as Kenny has been anywhere from a tenth to 2/10 slower, or sorry, half a tenth there. Oh, there you go. That last time around, though, Kensley was almost, just about a 10th quicker than Puffenbarger. Pretty interesting. Just kind of gathering that back around, and here it is. We actually got a battle now. Andrew has caught Todd Slauson. You see there over the last 4 laps, 1/10, 1.5 tenths, 2 tenths, just over 1.5, and then just over 2 tenths than that previous. And we'll see here probably kind of even out a little bit once he actually, for this lap, having caught him. And there you go, see it just under half a tenth. So the difference here is 5 laps on these tires. 5 laps is everything at a track like this that just chews up the tires as much as they do, especially in these Xfinity cars. All right, well, we're actually going to go ahead and bring a little bit of a guest here, as his brother does make the pass now on Todd Slauson at 22. Alex, thank you for joining us up here.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, man, Andrew gets into the wall, and Todd right behind him gets into the wall as well. They almost wreck each other. Wow. Well, Alex, you have the experience over me at the moment regarding how the actual track itself is driving, how these cars are driving, and how it's feeling on a long run. So walk us through what these drivers are experiencing right now.
Can't say my experience was a very good experience, but it seems like this a lane or two up seems to be the fast line. I was trying to be a bottom feeder and really save the tires in the long run, but I was just having a hard time keeping up with these guys tonight. Kept burning off my right front, but overall the track seems fairly stable. It gets a little loose on exit, at least it was for me anyway, but I didn't really try much of the middle or the high line like some of these guys were doing. I was just trying my best to hold the bottom and see if it could save the tires, but it didn't really work out for me.
And so, You mentioned how that right front trying to save the right front, but at the same time, you also mentioned it getting loose. So you're tight on entry and yet loose off of the turns. And yes, that does present such a dilemma there as a driver and just makes it so difficult. So what can you do at that point? Are you backing off your turns more, but you trying to not maybe get into the throttle as hard? What are some of the things you can do as a driver?
I was really just trying to let the car rotate in the center, just letting it roll, and then just gingerly getting it back into the gas to not, slide the track and spin the tires. But yeah, I was just struggling overall throughout the whole night. Obviously, you saw me, make that big mistake on lap 1, and definitely want to apologize to Plank. That bottom line had stacked up, and I tried scooting up to the high line, but just got into him. That was probably the dumbest thing I've done in a while.
Hey, we all have those. We have those moments. Of course, you absolutely apologize, and honestly, from the onboard from us, it just looked like you were turning to the left. You didn't turn all the way, and that's just kind of what happened there. But it looked like you had maybe just a lot of degree of on the steering maybe.
Yeah, that was just a poor decision on my part, but it's all right. We move on, and yeah, I ended up after that first pit cycle, I got loose off of turn 4 and hammered the inside wall. Took a tow, but forgot to put on the old fast repair, so it was 43 minutes of damage. So here I am.
43 minutes of damage to match that 43. Maybe not the way you wanted that to happen. Yeah, that's painful. These drivers, we've been on 55 laps on this run. They're trying to make their way down pit lane. What's the struggle as well? Just trying to make your way down pit lane with these old tires, and this is a very sharp entry to pit lane as well.
Yeah, that transition down to the apron is a little tough, especially on the old tires. Gets you a little squirrely once you get down there, but it's hard to balance the aggressive entry while also not trying to, make a mistake. So I usually try to be more on the conservative side when I'm on the pit road. But
yeah, I say the same thing, but that's just because I've burned myself one too many times, not doing so coming down pit lane the right way, and throwing away a win or two in that sense. So, and then as well, yeah, my experience, I think the Xfinity car probably has to be the car that I have the least experience in on at least stock car wise, for iRacing. Walk us through as well what it takes driving one of these, here on the sim, and how it can, differ from some of the other vehicles that, that even, Racers Elite puts on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, I definitely say out of the 3 NASCAR, cars that we race, these are definitely the most difficult out of the 3. The trucks and the next gen, they run fairly similar. Obviously,
ooh, the 59 misses
just horsepower.
Pit lane, but you said horsepower. Yes.
Yeah, so trucks sometimes you feel like you can't get out of your own way, and that's really a lot of momentum based. But yeah, with these cars, you really gotta focus a lot on throttle control and not because these cars actually like to rotate unlike the other 2. So it's really just I like to use a lot of throttle control with these and try to turn with the throttle. Things of that nature.
So I guess it's a lot more like an ARCA car probably than most of the other cars are.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's good to know. Yeah, I have to get into an Xfinity series soon once I move up out of that ARCA series. So we'll have to see for myself, but which is a great opportunity for me to at least get to broadcast and get to talk about it with and see what these drivers are doing. But yeah, it's definitely clear. I know that they're fun. They sound great as well when you're on board watching everybody. So that's one thing that really makes this Xfinity series as exciting, as enticing as it is. And typically we ask this of your brother Andrew, but since you're up here in the booth, go ahead, sell Racers Elite out there to anybody watching to see if maybe they want to go ahead and join any one of the series that may still have some openings left.
Yeah, no, we have lots of openings in this series and the truck series. New season's starting in a couple weeks, so if people want to jump in and get in on the fresh season, that'll be a good opportunity. Yeah, race Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, trucks, Xfinity, next gen, and then we have 3 series on Sunday with the Gen 6 cars. Usually run the Sunday nights.
Those Gen 6 cars are making a little bit of a comeback, it feels like.
Yeah, they're super fun to drive. It's not so aero-based like those next-gen cars are, with all the aero blocking and things of that nature. It's refreshing to jump into those cars sometimes.
Yeah, I spent probably a good portion of almost like a year and a half, almost 2 years, like just racing in leagues of next gens, to the point where when I finally got out of it, I was like, man, I really did not like those cars. Oh my goodness, Puffenbarger in the wall is your leader a little bit, as Smith is now only 3/10 behind him. For a better portion, yeah, of those of that, and then realizing, man, I really did not like those cars. I like how basically anything else drives over this.
Yeah.
But the next gens as well, what makes them fun, because I can't deny they put on some great races. It's just that it's not for me personally, but it also allows some of these drivers and also forces you to be a little bit more aggressive, as you mentioned, because of that aero blocking and how hard it is to pass. So it's what makes those races fun, and well, probably why the next gen series is already all filled up there on Thursday nights.
Yeah, the next gen cars, it really balances out the field with, how you can't really get away unless you're significantly faster than the rest of the field. So it's real easy to keep everybody together.
And it's what makes it a ton of fun as well, I guess, especially the track. Seeing that the finale for both these series are going to be at Atlanta, the new Atlanta as well. So how does that set you up as a driver when you're trying to compete for a championship, knowing that you got to go to the new Atlanta to try to win it?
Certainly a wild card, and it'll either make you or break you. I didn't make the chase in this series. The only one I have a shot in is the next gen for Thursday nights, so I'm actually 7 points behind Zimmerman right now. So I keep it close this week. Who knows what could happen next week? You could wreck out on lap 5 and throw it all away, or be the hero.
And how does that? I mean, because of course I see that across the 3 series, which is great. Some of these drivers, racing across all 3, so just more discipline and more time around each other, which is why the racing is so good, and you have so minimal wrecks. But I guess what I allude to is the fact that you're in a different car 3 different nights of the week, back to back to back sometime, or at least for some of these drivers, or at least 2 different cars like that. How do you adjust, or how does that, how do you prepare yourself to adjust, like, hey, I'm in a different car, I got to drive a different way, is it just practice beforehand, or is it just, little by little, it just comes to you again?
Yeah, for the most part, just kind of, at least for the first couple seasons, at least for me anyway, I was just going to these tracks for the first time. So it can be a little intimidating at that point. But once you go to a track a second time, at least for me, I tend to have a much better feel for, the car and the track combination. And you can usually use the same lines for the most part between the series, so you at least have a general idea. So it's not, that drastic of a change. But yeah, for the most part, it's just jump in and figure it out as you go.
Yeah, that's that I guess that's pretty fair. I guess I've only really been doing the ARCA cars as of late. I haven't been switching around. I guess I did drive a truck yesterday at Kansas, and that was kind of fun. So next season, do you guys have anything on the schedule you can think off the top of your head? I know, again, these are typically I'm asking Andrew, but still, any races off the top of your head that you can think, that would stand out on the schedule? Really get some of these people maybe watching or interested into joining on.
These next gen mile and a halves, those seem to be very good races. That's a lot of see the field pretty close together, good racing, and usually nice and clean. I know those are my favorite tracks out of the 3 series. Is those mile and a halves in the next gen.
Yeah, they're absolutely my favorite, and oh, excuse me. And I think probably my favorite is Las Vegas with the next gens, because it allows you to really run just about any lane with the 3 of them, and with any one of those 3 lanes. And when you're doing that with the next gens, you kind of take away some of the aero push, and it really just widens out that racing and just the overall racing groove to make it so much fun as well.
Yeah, that's what I really focus on in the next gen, is just really offsetting your nose from the person in front of you. You always need some air on there to really get a drive off the corner. If not, you're just going up the track. But doing that also, it helps, and you can also stagger and let off a little bit early. You can save your tires on the long run and just make those easier passes. Because running side by side, it just kills all your lap time.
Well, even at Atlanta, I noticed, I don't know if it's changed in, probably 6 months or so, that with the next gens, that you get yourself a nice big pack. That right front really will get hot, and it will make it very difficult. You're not going to be full throttle for the entire run. You really do have to let off quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's what some people forget about Atlanta. They just think, oh, it's just super speedway, it's just this and that. But no, that's not really the case. You have the high speeds, but you also really have to manage that right front, because it can be difficult to pass. But if you do so, again, like a track like Iowa here, where if you're just that much better at saving your tires than others around you, then it makes making those passes at the end of the run so much easier.
Yeah, especially a lot of these shorter tracks, where passing really needs to be done on the bottom, because everyone likes to ride the high lines on the longer runs. Being able to save those tires and make those passes on the bottom, it's a much better situation for yourself.
And as we're coming down to it, Alex, we've got just about coming close to 20 laps to go. We got 22 right now, 21 when we come back across the line. Do you want to stick it out here with us to the end, or?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right. Well, try not to jump into your ear too much with it, but that 15 and this 5, they have stayed right on top of each other. I mean, it's only 4/10 right now for the moment. They're doing a great job keeping with each other.
It looks like Kensley gains a 10th, and then Puffenbarger pulls away a 10th about every other lap. Seems like Kensley's trying to run a bit more of that middle lane, and Puffenbarger's in that top lane.
Yeah, maybe get a little bit of fresh air to the nose. Try to get some clear, and same as always, as they say, if you run right where he is, you're not gonna pass him that way either. And coming to now, yeah. So we are at the 20 laps to go. Kensley typically Puffenbarger's done a great job. He's just been pulling away. But this time around, Kensley has really stuck around and stayed with them. They pit in the same lap. They're going to have the same, tires, at least at the start of the run. And so Kensley's also been a driver who's done a really good job the last couple of races, I've noticed, to adapting when he didn't have the best to start, maybe, saving tires. But he does a really good job of adapting to that. And I think it's showing right here, staying within 7/10, when at one point he was almost 2.5 seconds back on an earlier run.
Kensley is usually pretty good on the short run and makes up a lot of time. And then throughout the race, it seems like he always tends to get better on the long runs.
And we're going to jump on board with him right now, see and listen to that throttle control, but also just look at that steering wheel as he's just within that toe of Puffenbarger. A lot of off throttle time, and it really sounds like he's not full throttle until he's maybe almost, if not completely straight with that steering wheel, just about straight.
That's the best way to keep the tires on it.
I think at this point, let's see, lap 140. Yeah, we're 30 something laps into this run. I think at this point they're just trying to, they just want this race to end.
Oh, absolutely.
And Did you feel because of course the fuel can last a lot longer than the tires were going to. At what point in a run did you feel like the tires really just went away?
Probably in the last 15 or so for me. But if anything, it just gets tighter on entry. Car wants to sail a bit more in the center. Doesn't want to rotate, so you can get back on the gas.
Man, then you jump on board with Puffenbarger, and you hear that exactly what you said is exactly what you heard for Puffenbarger, except where he didn't sound nearly as tight as Kensley Smith did, where you hear Tensley's off the throttle for so long, and Puffenbarger he seems like that steering is just a little bit more comfortable, but that also is that fresh that clean air in front of him compared to Smith.
It seems like with that a little bit higher line he's running, keep that wheel a bit more straight, help the car rotate on its own.
Now with 13 to go, we actually do have a battle for the 4th position between Brandon Sanfilippo and Todd Slauson. You see him hitting those bumps hard. Those bumps look really, really hard in going into turn 1. Like it looks like it's on the outside of turn 1. I know you said you were kind of on the inside, but most of the time. But man, it is just rough when you hit those bumps going through 1.
Yeah, I can't say I touched him at all that whole race. I was on the bottom the entire time.
Man, we just jumped on board on the nose of that 22 as he went across it. Oh, and he does a crossover on the 12. Oh man, what a great view there to be on the nose for that moment in time. He did a crossover when the 12 pulled up in front of him. And the 12 now gets to the outside of the 22. Can he clear him with a great run off of 4? That's exactly what it's going to do. So put Brandon Sanfilippo into that 4th position. Todd back to 5th, but Todd right back to the inside in 1 and 2. Well, Todd was really strong there off of 2. Oh, contact! 3 and 4 are coming off of 4. Todd back to the inside. He just can't quite get back to the throttle as quick as that 12 does on the outside. It's just that rotation on the outside is just so much better.
Yes.
You see them just diming these corners just a little bit as well, trying to figure something out there. And look at this. Andrew Teff himself, he's caught Kensley Smith for 2nd now with 9 to go. Wow. And he put a lap before them, so Andrew he's figured something out when it comes to saving the tires here at Iowa.
He's been doing that bottom feeding as well. It's really helping his long run.
We'll have to see. Even trying to get up there to make the pass on Kensley, he still was faster than your leader. With 8 to go, I don't think he's going to have enough. He'll have to gain him at about 0.2 a lap, but what a great job for Andrew. I mean, he was back there in 8th or 9th at one point in this race. I mean, extended that first one, and he's just done a great job since. And Andrew's not had a great last couple of weeks either, so this has to be really refreshing for him. At least for the Xfinity series, I mean.
Yeah, he's got caught up in a few unfortunate incidents on the track. I think I put him way behind in the chase standings.
Yeah, I did, because double check here. Yeah, he was 13 out coming into the race, so passing Kensley's going to help. Kensley they both led laps, and Puffenbarger led the most laps, so that'll kind of, cancel each other out between those two there. So 13 behind him, finishing 1 spot only does so much going into next week, but hey, if you beat him by 1 point next week as well, that's where that 1 spot came into handy.
And like I said, Atlanta will certainly be a wild card.
And with it being Atlanta season finale, you could probably also expect to see a couple of more drivers show up to that race as well.
Oh yeah, intensity will be at a high, probably right from the green flag.
Oh man, Andrew ripping the high side there, really loose off of 2. But man, Puffenbarger, he's just pulling away from here. He was faster that last time around by 1/10. We'll have to see this time around by about 2.5. So I think Andrew has used up his stuff, but let's also not forget that he hit a lap earlier than these guys too. So he wasn't supposed to be catching them in the first place.
Puffenbarger's had such a lead. He's been able to manage that gap and save his stuff. I'm sure he's holding a little extra in the tank if he needs it.
Well, we have 2 laps to go. Crazy thing happens, Alex. We have 7 cars on the lead lap. A caution comes out now. Is there any way that you don't pit?
No. Absolutely not.
Do you take 2 tires?
If you can get a good restart, it might work, but I think the 4 tires would prevail.
Well, null and void anyways. Puffenbarger comes across the line. That white flag is thrown by Barney the flagman. He's going to get through the bumps in 1 and 2 pretty easily. Coming off of 2 now with 1.7, 1.8 second lead over Andrew Teft. Nonetheless, Puffenbarger going to make it back-to-back weeks here. He's going to win his 3rd race of the season. Puffenbarger going to play playoff spoiler again. And Andrew Teft going to be the highest of your playoff drivers after starting back there in the 7th position. Fell back a couple more from there. But a great recovery for him. And he finished almost 2 seconds ahead of Kensley Smith as well. So he did a really, really good job on that final run. But I also have to give credit to Kensley. He was probably just driving the wheels off of that thing, trying to have a chance to pass Puffenbarger.
Yeah, good race all around.
All right. Well, Alex, I'll let you go here if you like, and then we'll bring these other drivers in, or you can stick around for the interviews as well. Yeah, up to you.
Nope, I'll let you do your job.
All right, buddy. Good luck on your race tomorrow. We'll see you next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, send Alex back down over there as Brandon Puffenbarger burns it down. We'll wait for him to jump into the broadcast booth with us. You are Morgantown, West Virginia's Brandon Puffenbarger. Alrighty. Apologize if you hear my dog looking away back there for some water. We'll be right back. Brandon, this is Angel here in the SRM broadcast booth. You got me, buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we're going to make it back-to-back weeks here. Your 3rd win of the season in your 6 starts. But Kensley almost had you. He put on a pretty good fight there in that final run.
Yeah, Kinsley's always tough. I mean, I figured if I could stay out in front of that last run, I'd be pretty good. But that first 2 runs, keeping up with Kinsley was kind of tough.
Yeah, and it looks like he had the field pretty capped at that start. But yeah, with a great job being able to save your tires, pass him there, and pull off for a big lead on that first run. Really from there, tires, the overall, everybody was slipping and sliding. It was really, really tight into 1. You didn't look nearly as tight, though, going into turn 1. It seemed like that car really just kind of glided, just going into the turns overall.
Yeah, I noticed a couple guys were driving in a little deeper than I was. So that's probably why they were tight in the center and having issues getting off the corner. But I think I was letting off way early going into 1.
Yeah, I could tell.
Like at the end of the middle of the last section of grass. But I mean, that's always how I've ran Iowa's. Slow in, fast out, pretty much philosophy that helps save the right front here.
And, well, maybe that's my problem. Maybe I can never figure out Iowa myself. Nonetheless, Brandon did a great job here tonight. Put on a somewhat dominating fashion, but at the same time, it wasn't without some type of battling to do so in the process. Who do you have to thank? Friends, family, any sponsors before we let you go celebrate this victory?
Airborne graphics for my paint scheme. You guys for putting on the show. Andrew for letting me come back. Uh, Everybody that I talk to on a daily basis, they know who they are. But that's about it.
All right, Brandon. Well, we do appreciate it. Once again, you jumping in, talking with us. Congratulations once again, and well, we will see you next. Maybe not, but we'll see you at Atlanta.
Sounds good.
All right, that was your race winner. We're gonna go ahead and bring in your second place finisher here tonight, Andrew Teft from Hope Valley, Rhode Island. Andrew, how we doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, pretty good. How are you, Angel?
Not doing bad myself. Nice recovery. I mean, you fell back to what, ninth at one point there?
Yeah, I didn't really qualify the best. I think I had a 50 off the top of my head, 2350. eh, we did a practice race yesterday, and I had some decent long run speed, just running the bottom. It seemed kind of slow at the start of the runs, but if you kept with it, it would pay off big time at the end of the runs. So just kind of methodically made my way through. Went a little bit long the first run. Maybe I could have made up some more time there if I didn't stay out as long, but I also wanted a bonus point for leading the lap, so kind of a toss up there. But yeah, congrats to Brandon. He's always super quick here. Needed to probably stay out a couple laps longer than him that last run to be able to catch up with him, but the 22 came in, and I didn't want to have to pass him again, so I pitted when the 22 did. But anyway, long ramble, but hopefully that answers your question.
No, it exactly does. I even had a couple questions that I didn't have to follow up with because you got them on that run. Yeah, so you ran long that first one, and it seemed like it really worked out because you were just picking them up and laying them down. After that, and I was expecting you to go long again, and then when you went short, I said, "Oh, wait a minute, Andrew threw me off," and I'm like, "Well, I guess it's still okay because he drove back up in a second." But that does answer that question now with the 22, and also just exemplifies how difficult passing is at Iowa, especially with these cars. So I know these drivers are going to be having fun tomorrow night as well in the next gen. But next week we have one more race. We head to Atlanta, New Atlanta. You were our highest finishing playoff driver tonight, gaining at least a point there on your points leader, 12 behind them, Kensley, as you go into next week's race. Andrew, you got to go out there and win, I'm sure. But what's the plan to get through the chaos?
The plate tracks are some of my strongest for some reason. I don't know if I just got a knack for them or the draft or something, but I usually work with my brother, so hopefully I can count on him to help me get there. We're gonna need a little bit of luck with potentially a big one, but I don't want to wish ill upon anybody.
You're trying to win a championship, Andrew. You got it. You can say what you want. It's okay. You're trying to win for you're trying to go for a championship.
To be honest, I mean, I can't talk. To be honest, if I won the race, I'd have a 4-point buffer over second, and I would need another 8 spots. So if Hensley finishes maybe 10th or worse next week, maybe I got a shot. But I'm gonna have to do all that I got.
And Atlanta's a track, and I'm speaking with Alex a little bit earlier during the race. He was kind enough to join me for about the second half almost, where Atlanta's probably going to draw a little bit of a bigger crowd as well, just overall with it. So that's going to open up those opportunities as well for you and for him. But and Brandon Sanfilippo, he's only 3 behind you too, so it's not like you're only battling for that first spot. You got to try to hold on to second as well.
Yeah, and Kensley's beat me at a couple of these plate races in our single event stuff. So we were just at Daytona recently, and he beat me by like an inch. So definitely can't count on anything. But if I had to pick a track where I thought maybe I had a better shot, maybe one of the plate tracks.
Well, with your runner-up finish here tonight, Andrew, you do clinch the most top 10s here on the season. So one race early. Congratulations on that. Who do you have to thank for so far for the race? Good finish again. And before we let you go and prepare for that championship battle next week.
SRM as always. My teammates over at Chicken Coop Racing. Congrats to Brandon again. Thanks to our servicemen and women. My family for letting me race all the time. And then just everybody that tunes in to watch and shows up to race. We got new season starting soon, June 11th through the 13th. So if you're interested in racing, just head on over to racerselite.com. You can find invites to our Discord servers there and schedules for all of our different series. We've got series 4 days out of the week, so you'll be able to find something that fits your schedule.
Yeah, no, definitely. Races all the way across the week, and 3 times a week we're here, and on the occasion we get to have them on a 4th time here on SRM. So, Andrew, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that was your league owner and your second place finisher in Andrew. Let's go ahead and bring in Kensley. Kensley, it's a little late, but we'll bring you in here momentarily at least here as our 3rd place finisher tonight for the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. But you're holding on to a points lead going into the final race. I think that's the biggest part.
Yeah, I'm just happy just keeping my lead. I think Ira was behind me coming into this with -8 on me, and coming out of this race I'm +12 on Andrew. So I think that's just the biggest takeaway from here.
Yeah, no, you do leave with a 12-point lead now over Andrew going into Atlanta, but it is Atlanta, and Atlanta can't always have chaos, Kinsley. So what's the plan for next week to make it through, especially with the possibility of having more drivers, knowing that a track like Atlanta tends to draw a little bit larger of a crowd?
Just keep it safe. I think my plan's probably going to be just right around at the back, figure everything out, and when it comes to the end of the race, just start moving up. That's going to be the main goal, is just making sure I can make it to the end. If I can't make it to the end, then I'm basically screwing myself. So anything possible just to make it to the end.
Well, there you go. I think that's a right way to go about it, Kensley. So we'll go ahead and let you celebrate another top 3 finish. Before we let you go, though, who all you want to thank? Any sponsors, friends, family for watching?
Of course, all my teammates at Driving a Stream Inc. Working good together, feeding information off of each other, and my wife and my daughter for watching the races and supporting me, and then of course Andrew for putting on the league for us, and you guys at SRM for doing the broadcast.
All right, Kensley, we do appreciate it. We'll see you next week. I know you got another championship or so to battle between now and then, but wish you luck, and we'll see you battling next week as well for this one.
Thank you.
Mentioning Kensley also in that truck championship there on Tuesday night with Zimmerman. All right, let's go ahead and see. I don't know if we can pull up the results now. All right, they're going to come up. Brandon Puffenbarger, your winner. Andrew Teft in second. Kensley in third. Brandon Sanfilippo in fourth. Todd Slauson going to round out your top 5. Dennis Kane in sixth. Truth Hoke in seventh. Kirby Wayne Scott and Brandon Honeycutt going to make up 8th and 9th. Sean Dunaway, your top 10 rounding out. Jacob Plank in 11th. Alex Teft in 12th. And then Matt Madler did not actually start the race, did not complete a lap there. So Alex going to be the last of your drivers. Thank you, everybody, again for joining us here tonight. For once again was a fantastic. You see the fireworks out in the background there for Puffenbarger's victory in the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. We look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night for the Next Gens here at Iowa as well. They'll have their penultimate race in their championship. And then on Tuesday, we're back for the trucks for their championship race. Wednesday, Thursday as well for the championship next week. So a lot of exciting racing going on next week across Racers Elite, and then as they prepare for their next season in a couple of weeks, be sure to join on if you're not already, and make sure you've also subscribed to the Sim Racing Media Network so that you can keep up with everything happening, not just with Racers Elite, but also on the Sim Racing Media Network. Once again, my name was Angel Santiago. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here tonight. Have a great evening, and enjoy your weekends.